Welcome to A Dose of Feel Good. I'm your host, Whitney Bischoff, and today we are talking about For Good. You can see full show notes at doseoffeelgood.my.canva.site. Now let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to 1 year of Dose of Feel Good, and we are going to celebrate with a episode titled For Good, which I will jump into very shortly. First, I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who has taken the time to listen, to share, and hopefully you have been impacted by this journey and have felt what it means to find the good in the world, which is why our topic this week is titled For Good. And you guessed it, we are pulling this directly from the movie Wicked, and anyone who knows me knows that it is my all-time favorite. I just find so many good parallels to this podcast, also my life in general. And when I was thinking of this topic and what I wanted to do to celebrate 1 year of the podcast, I found myself just really grinning, beaming, if you will, just thinking of all the good ripples that has gone out into the world. And that is exactly what my hope has been for this podcast since the very beginning. Honestly, since the first episode where I was talking about that ripple effect from, when we choose to find and spread that good, that it ripples out into everyone around us. And I think when you think of the concept for good, that it doesn't always have to be good in the world. And especially when you think of the concept of from Wicked, that it definitely wasn't good. There was a lot of things that I think is parallel to the world we live in now, but there are so many opportunities to find good, and they did find good. And so we're going to glean from their experiences. And whenever I hear this song, I pull it from the new movie version, just because I think it's so beautiful. But I get full body chills because I think it just is so relatable, again, to this podcast, but ultimately, honestly, how I live my life, because I just think like so much of who we are and made to be is our interactions with other people, and choosing kindness and giving grace. And so much of that is written into this song. But even just the whole concept of the movie, the show, where however you want to look at it, is, when you really break it down, when you choose good and when it's coming from an authentic place, oftentimes you will be attacked. And that was the whole premise of this show, is that when you're just trying to do good in the world, oftentimes people can't understand that, right? Because if there isn't some ulterior motive, or if it doesn't impact you in some way, then people don't really get it, right? Like, if our only goal is to make the world a little bit better, it's so uncommon that people just don't get it. And so they question it, they attack it, because how can that be? How can it be where there are genuine people out there who just want to make the world a little bit better of a place? But we are out here, we do exist. But I think that's where, like, I just find so much encouragement of, like, when we are attacked, or when people don't understand our kindness, whatever that looks like. I use that as momentum to keep going. Hence, the song Defying Gravity. Like, I'm not going to let them bring me down. That's often where the diva comes from, or the enthusiasm or the passion, whatever you want to call it. That, like, I am so passionate about being kind and helping people, see the gift that they are to the world, that I'm not going to, let a handful of people that just don't understand that there are some of us out here who just want to make the world a little better. And that's what we're doing. And we're doing it for good. And so I want to kind of pull some pieces then from the song as well. So if you have not listened to the song, I'm going to link it. You should listen to it because it's genuinely my life motto. Anthem, whatever. I could sing it all day long. I'm not going to. I thought about it, but I'm not going to. But the song starts out that basically saying that there's a reason for every interaction that we have. Or in this case, that people come into our lives for a reason. And whether that's to teach us a lesson, to help us to grow, or even to trust that I'm going to give myself and that's in hopes going to be reciprocated. But, that as we build those relationships, right, there is a reason. And I genuinely believe that every single interaction we have has purpose, has value, has an opportunity for us to share kindness and good and be human together, right? I know I've talked a lot in episodes about just showing up. And that's how this whole song starts. Like, it really just starts with showing up. And when we do that for each other, there's a lot of power in that. And then it takes it a step further that, when we show up, when we learn these lessons for each other, that every time we do that, we are leaving handprints on the hearts of those around us. So thinking of that as like we give a piece of ourselves, but then also those interactions leave a handprint on ourselves. And, I hope that it's for the better. But I think of people all the time, and we often don't, I think, give enough credit for that. But like thinking back for people of what they might think were these small moments, but for me has had just these lasting impacts on my life because they showed up or they taught me something in a season. And I really love that analogy of like the handprints on our hearts. There's so much feeling, I think, that can come along with that of just knowing the power that, people have in our lives. And then the third big takeaway I think this song really gives is just understanding that, like, our life isn't forever, that, there is always going to be a end. There's an end point, whether that's an end point of the relationship, the interactions with that person, or even the endpoint of our life, right? But I think sometimes we can get stuck on things that maybe have hurt us, or some bitterness or resentment or whatever that looks like. And we get stuck there. And these things don't matter in the grand scheme of things. And so the power of just giving forgiveness and grace. And it doesn't mean that then all of a sudden things are beautiful and we go right back to how things are, because, that might not be the relationship that we need anymore. But I think just the reminder of these kind of key takeaways, that each interaction that we have with somebody has a reason, has a lesson, that they leave those handprints on us and vice versa, and the power of that forgiveness, because a lot of the things that we hold on to really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. And I think when we put all of that together, it really helps us see that we have the power to rewrite our stories that maybe we've held on to, that bitterness or those interactions, And we can choose to find that there was good. There was, even if it was me learning a lesson from that person, even if it's just for a season, it doesn't have to be forever, but I can rewrite the narrative of that story so that it is used for good in my life. And that's really what we're aiming for here, is that we're not going to hold on to things that continue to bring us down, but we're going to choose to find those lessons and let those people and things that we are holding on to, we're going to flip that and help us see that it's for good, that it is being used for good. And I want to show this. This story is going to be very short and sweet today, and I hope it's not too morbid, but I know I've told a lot of people this, and now it is written in stone because it is in a podcast here. This song, I just resonate with so much, and so much so that I really view this as like my legacy song. Like whenever I'm stuck, and I do get stuck often, I go back and I listen to this song of like, if I don't do anything else with my life, if all I do is leave for good, ripples into the world, if that's all I do, and if at my funeral this is the song that is played and people genuinely can relate to that's how I lived my life, then I'm good. Then I have fulfilled my life's purpose. So it is written in stone that I want this song played at my funeral. But it's more than that, really. Like, I genuinely believe that every single interaction we have, we can choose to be kind, we can choose to find the good, and we don't have to hold on to the hard things all of the time. We can choose that even if it's for a season, that whatever that lesson is, whatever that interaction is with that person, it has made us a better person for good in the long run. And I think the impact of this is a variety of things, but I want to highlight a few. First is that I think it's really important to note that all of these interactions or relationships, or however you want to look at it, we may not always be a part of their story forever or even for a long time, but we are at the right time. We have people come into our lives when we needed those moments. Even if they're not great moments, even if they were lessons that we were like, I did not want to learn that, but we needed to. And I think even that piece of, people that we did have at one point, they're not in our lives anymore. And we're like, oh, how did that go wrong or whatever? Like, don't look at it that way. We're going to shift that thought process. And they were in our lives for that season because there was something that we needed to learn in that season. And I also think that, along those same lines, like, if it was something that maybe did hurt us a little bit, that when we choose forgiveness and letting go of that bitterness and resentment, in the end, we're honoring ourselves for the lessons learned and that growth. And we're doing that for good. We're using those moments for good. And I think what's really cool about that is even when you have, I always say, the villains in our stories, they always exist. But even when we have those, we can still choose forgiveness and letting it go and using that moment for good, because then they don't get the power. We get that power back in our own hands, and we're going to use those moments for good. And ultimately, that's a win. Like, what is the cooler way to bring that power back when we choose forgiveness and letting it go? They don't get the power anymore. We get it back. And I think, honestly, that's such a cool thing to realize. But I also think when we realize that every single time that we intervene to talk to someone, when we step into the moments, when we're not scared to do that, when we connect with people, whether that's strangers, friends, family, whoever, all of those moments, we are effectively leaving handprints in our path, handprints on each and every one of those people. And the more that we choose kindness and light, that change is for good. And I think that is so beautiful. So how do we actually put this into practice? So first, my first call to action, listen to the song For Good from the soundtrack Wicked. So that's first and foremost, so you know what I'm talking about here. Second, find space to let go and forgive. If you're holding on to that resentment, bring that power back. Find space to let go and forgive. And what does that actually look like? The second piece, commit to kindness every day for whatever that looks like. And kind of weaving back to one of our first episodes, that can be kindness for yourself too. It doesn't have to be for everybody else all of the time. And then the third piece, recognize the power of the good that you bring to the world. And never, ever, ever let anyone shift your energy, because we need your energy and the good that you bring into the world. So with that, we're going to wrap up our episode that is celebrating 1 year of Dose of Feel Good. And surprise, this week, we're going to bring you 2 more bonus episodes this week. So stay tuned for those that are coming out to celebrate. Also, take a look at our social media, because we'll be doing some giveaways this week, sharing of episodes. The more you share, the more times you'll be entered to win our giveaways. So make sure that you're keeping an eye out on our social media. And to celebrate 1 year of Dose of Feel Good, I would really, really love and appreciate if you comment what you have loved about the podcast over the last year, the impact that maybe it's had on you. And I would love if you would share this episode, share your favorite episode with at least one person. I'd love if you shared it with a handful of people, just to celebrate. And again, the more that we spread these feel-good messages, we never know who might need it. And we're spreading that positive ripple into the world. And at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to do.
Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you are feeling ready to conquer the week and let your impact ripple out to the world around you. Let's connect on Instagram and Threads at Dose of Feel Good Podcast. If you're loving the podcast, I'd love it if you'd hit that subscribe button and leave a review. Until next time, share your own dose of feel good and never underestimate the power of positivity.